this is Vicki Gervicus, and I am joining you from the Greater Gainesville Chamber. I am the Director of Public Policy, and I'm very happy to welcome Michael Raburn this morning, one of our candidates for the City Commission, District 2. And he's going to tell us a little bit about himself, and we're going to get to know him better and his priorities better today. Welcome, Michael.
Thanks for having me, Gainesville Chamber of Commerce. I'm glad to be here. My name is Michael Raburn. I am running for City Commission District 2. That's the new district that goes basically from Alachua down past the mall and out every district. So you'll need to check your registration to make sure, because you may have been like me. I was in District 3 until they changed this, and now some of us have gotten shuffled around. I moved back to Gainesville in 2017 with my wife, Amy, and our 5 children. I have 2 older daughters who, since they moved here, have both graduated from Santa Fe and UF and gotten married and gotten jobs. One is working in cancer research at UF, and one is a special ed teacher at Newberry Elementary School. So our boys are 13, 10, and 6, so we got a whole nother crop coming up. And we moved back here to pastor the Vineyard Church, Gainesville Vineyard Church, that used to be on 8th Avenue in the old Methodist building. We bought the old Boys and Girls Club in Lincoln Estates in Southeast Gainesville in 2018 and have invested about $1 million now and more in Southeast Gainesville in the last 5-6 years. I can't count time anymore, Vicki. It's just running away from me. We've established a community center, a literacy program. We're really trying to close the educational disparity gap in Alachua County. One kid reading at a time. We've got, I think, 70 in the program right now, and we're seeing kids jump 3 grade levels in 12-week span. So it's really good. We do food giveaways. We got one tomorrow. We feed about 500 people every other Wednesday, give them a week's worth of groceries. We have a community garden, which is where we get a little bit of the food we give away. The rest comes from the food bank. We've rehabilitated the space. It was pretty much abandoned when we took it in. We moved there, and we have services there, but we also have it available. There were summer camps happening there. Thousand Voices Choir was there Friday night. UF did some sort of community thing there Saturday. Don't ask me. I don't keep the calendar. The roller derby team uses our space 3 times a week to practice now. They used to be at the fairgrounds before they leveled that space. So we're doing that work. I'm running the community center, pastoring the church. I'm also the board chair for Grace Marketplace. I ran a homeless shelter in Raleigh before we moved here, so I've got experience with that. We lived in Raleigh-Durham for 15 years. I did my PhD in ethics and public policy at Duke. We stayed there for quite a while, ran a couple of small businesses and whatnot. But why I'm running for a Gainesville City Commission is really 4 basic reasons. One, the most foundational, is I'd like to change the culture of the City Commission to one that's listening and respectful, but also actually has real dialogue. I don't mind if we argue and hash things out. But what I've experienced in my time over the last 5 years working with them is they don't listen very well, and they don't take input very well, and they're not able to have dialogue. There's a lot of harsh reactions. There's a lot of just shutting conversations down, the limiting public comment, and just not paying attention to what folks are saying. And it really hit me when I was part of the group that tried to save the St. Michael's Church from being demolished a few years ago, and they wouldn't listen to us at all. And that really troubled me because, I mean, these were suburban Heights neighbors. I mean, if you're going to listen to anyone, you're going to listen to the wealthier white folks, right? And then since we've been to Lincoln Estates, of course, no one over there gets listened to at all. So listening is the foundation of democracy. If your elected officials aren't listening to you, then they can't represent you. And so that's my most foundational reason for running. Is like we need commissioners who listen to us and represent us. And push back on the forces that would change our city into something that none of us wants it to be. My other priorities are our infrastructure is crumbling. I put up a video the other day about our fire department. Fire department is grossly underfunded, and most of their facilities are in bad disrepair. Their training facility is on the verge of being condemned. The fire station over by Archer Road is a trailer. And you can see like most of their gear is outside in plastic bins because they don't have enough space. It's just not acceptable. Our police force is 25% understaffed. 25%. I mean, imagine running your business if it's 25% understaffed. That would be hard. Our bus system, they've spent a lot of this ARPA money on new buses, but they're replacement buses. We still have fewer routes and fewer stops than we had years ago, which makes no sense. If we're going to increase the city's well-being, we need to have a better transit system, and we should be able to have one because UF does contribute to the transit system, and we're just riding on UF's contribution, not putting our own in. My other concerns are affordable housing, affordable family housing. We don't need more of these high rises that are never going to amount to affordable housing. We need like Lincoln Estates, like Phil Emmer came in 1960 and built a whole neighborhood of quality, affordable homes for families. And those families still own those homes 40, 50 years later. Generational wealth is being transferred. We don't need to have high rises downtown. We need to have more Lincoln Estates neighborhoods across the city. And then the other thing, and the way we get there, to me, is we grow the economy. And specifically, we grow the economy in ways that are not dependent on UF. We're too dependent on the University of Florida. And the way I describe it is like UF and the city of Gainesville are roommates, right? And UF is the good roommate. They've got their act together. They have a life. They have a job. They've got their business. And the city too often is like the mooching roommate. Like, you got me? Can we, I'll get you back, like we have to get a life of our own. Some candidates are talking about holding UF accountable. That's not a reality. UF is run by the state, and the state's preemption is going to prevent any of that from happening. We can partner with UF where we can, like on the bus system, but it has to be a partnership where we're contributing as well. So I would like to see us grow the economy. And back to the listening part, that comes from the city commissioners listening to the Chamber of Commerce and to our small local businesses and saying, hey, what do you need? Which again, we don't do. We saw this with the paper straws. They just did not listen to restaurant owners. We saw this with the downtown parking. They didn't listen to downtown business owners. Like, it can't be the commissioners telling us what we need and what we think we need. It has to be the commissioners listening to the citizens and the business owners saying, here's what we need, here's how we can succeed. And if we can grow our economy undependent of or not dependent upon UF, then we can have more money to spend on affordable housing and on the bus system and on the crumbling infrastructure. But it all starts with that listening piece. So that's my opening statement. That's a lot of talking. Now let me do some listening.
All right. Well, I think you covered question one, but if you feel like you want to talk a little more about it, certainly let's do that.
Ask it anyway.
So the first question is, what do you perceive are the three most important concerns facing Gainesville right now?
Crumbling infrastructure, affordable housing in the planning, like this zoning issue, all that stuff, that whole piece, like how are we going to have the city develop? But the most important one for me is the economy. There aren't enough good jobs in this town. There aren't enough good jobs because Gainesville is not business friendly. We do a lot of things that make it hard on business. GRU is obviously one of the most expensive utilities in the state, and the more you use, the more it costs. You don't get a volume discount, right? Most of all, our small business owners, they shop at Sam's because if you buy in bulk, you get a discount, right? It should be the same with electricity. You should be getting a discount for using more, because if you're using more as a business, you're contributing more to the economy. So let's cut you some slack on the rate. You should also you can do incentives like per employee. Like if you have 25 employees, we'll cut your electricity rate, by so much because you're employing more people. Those are the sort of measures that the city can take without getting their, the other part is the city can't do a lot of this. They've tried to be like their own developer, like at the Heartwood subdivision that has never gotten built. They're not good at that. They try to run businesses. They're they're doing the busking thing as opposed to having local businesses do music venues. The city tries to do too much instead of having the business partners like, y'all know your business, that's why you're in business. And so the city can contribute in small ways, but that make it viable and that get out of the way. And I would like to see the city do more of that and let y'all grow the economy, and then we'll have more revenue to do the things we need to do.
Very good. Well, and that leads perfectly. And again, I want to say no candidate got the questions up front. So
Okay.
that leads perfectly to the next question, which is, what is the role of the Gainesville City Commission in the community?
The role of the Gainesville City Commission is two things. One, we've got to attend to the core functions of city government. Is it safe? Are the roads paved? Are they clean? I mean, like someone was asking the other day, like, how do we fix downtown? Well, you could start with painting city buildings that don't look like they've been painted in 30 years. You could fix the sidewalks. You could fix I love the brick roads, but a lot of them are in disrepair because, just tree roots and things like that. Stuff that just gets left undone. Like we have a lot of deferred maintenance all over the city, but especially downtown. But the city needs to stay in its lane, like attend to the infrastructure, and then be asking and listening, like, why can't you succeed? Like we have a program, like the landlord thing. Okay, they've having this, like if you rent, you have to do inspections on your rental properties, and so landlords all over the city are like, never mind, I'm just going to sell. I'm getting out of the game because it's not viable. They haven't listened to the landlords and asked them, what do you need? They haven't said, hey, there's grant money, there's funding available to change the windows out. Windows are expensive. There's help for roofing and things like that. But what we've seen, this is really telling. The city has a program where if you have a roof that needs repair and you're at a certain income level, whatever, the city will help pay for the roof. They have funding every year that goes unspent because they can't find roofers to do the work, because they're not doing it at market rate. And the roofers we have are too busy, like Atlantic and Perry, they're just covered up. They're booked far out in advance. And no small roofers are able to make a go of it in this town. And that's the question we'd ask. Why don't we have a third or a fourth smaller roofing company that can pick up this slack and do this work and get paid for it? One, because they're not being paid at market rate. Two, because it's really hard to run a small business in this town. And these are the things the city needs to be asking. How are we getting in the way of our own town succeeding? And so attending to the core functions and listening to people and getting out of the way, I think are the core things that the city government needs to do.
Okay, very good. And again, I think we've touched a little bit on this, but what would be your top priorities and projects if you're elected?
My top priority would be changing, again, the culture. Like, if we can do meetings differently, like we shouldn't be doing these meetings where, we spend 6 hours and everybody gets 3 minutes to yell at the city commission, and the commissioners are on their phone, they're not listening, it doesn't impact them anyway. It's not viable. I mean, talk about meetings that could have been an email. I mean, that's just crazy. Plus, we don't ever know what the outcome is going to be. Like no one runs a business this way. Like you never go into a meeting like that until you know what the outcome is. Mm-hmm. So you got to have meetings where you bring everyone to the table, like literally to a table, everyone who's affected by a thing, and get their input and then work stuff out. That's what you have to do. So my top priority would be, as much as I can, moving us in that direction. So we're not slaves to Robert's Rules of Order, but we're actually getting stuff done where we're listening to everyone and all of their concerns and putting that together. That's a big and kind of amorphous priority, but until we really change and we're actually listening to people and representing them and putting y'all's ideas on the table and getting them out there, then we're not going to improve the condition of the city. And I think the city's in significant trouble. I mean, I think if we keep going down this way, it's just these landlords that are getting out of the business, and the rents are just getting higher, and rental properties are getting harder to come by, and businesses are having a harder time succeeding. It's going to get worse. There's not affordable housing because there aren't good blue collar jobs. So it's kind of, it can cycle up or it can cycle down. And it seems to me that right now it's cycling down, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. Well, and again, another good segue. There has been significant turmoil, both within the commission and with city staff. How do you think that's best addressed?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's bad. Like, I think we've lost all of our charter officers within the last year and a half. And I was talking with some about this yesterday. I don't really understand. Like, Cynthia Curry seems to be doing a good job. I know they brought her from outside. It's sort of weird to me that we have these like city government employees that kind of move around from city to city or state to state, we have good people. I've worked with people in city government who are good people. I don't know why we don't promote more from within. I don't know why we don't find ways to work with the people we have. They brought in Lee Feldman, who had a really spotty track record in his previous, municipality. So we kind of need to break the culture of like, we just hire, we go headhunting to wherever. Like, we need people who know Gainesville, who understand this city, and to promote from within. And maybe not people who are making a career of these things as much. But there has to be a commitment to like, let's work things out. The firing is never the first option. Again, this is part of the problem. Like, when I look at the commissioners, like Commissioner Duncan Walker runs a business. I don't think the rest of them have ever run a business, not like a business with employees. I don't mean like, real estate investor. That's a business, but it's not a human interaction business. I mean, if you run a business, you know that firing someone is a big deal. Like, it's a pain. You got to find somebody new. You got to train them. Can we just work things out? Can we listen and talk to each other and work things out? And I think in a lot of these cases it could have, if the culture had been different. And the commission has to set the culture so that it is different. And so that retaining people and working with people and developing people is the priority, not firing people and shuffling the deck every 6 months. Because that just sets you back. Every time you do that, you're back to square one, and everything you thought you were doing just goes away. Like, I mean, it goes back for me. Anthony Lyons was the city manager, I think, when we moved here, and it's just been constant turmoil since then. And I know as the board chair of Grace Marketplace, it's been really hard for us, like getting a consistent voice from the city. And we're doing incredible work out there. John DeCarmine and his team do amazing work. But all the turmoil in the city has been hard on us. It's been hard on a lot of nonprofits. I talked to another nonprofit director last month, and they provide services to the city that the city pays for. And they haven't been paid in several months by the city because the city doesn't know how much money it has, because they haven't done the audit. And so they put a freeze on all payments until they get the audit done, because they don't know where their money is. They don't know how much money they have in each budget. They don't know how to spend it. And this is not a large nonprofit. This is not an organization that can go several months without getting paid. If you've run a small business, you know what this is like.
You do.
You get those invoices past 60 days, you're like, "Whoa, we're going to have a problem here in a minute." Yeah. And so, I mean, here again, it's because we don't have an auditor. The whole financial services section of city government has been turned over and decimated. And you just can't do that. We're out of compliance with the state. We don't know how much money we have. And we're not paying our vendors for the service, for really important services that they're rendering. So we've got to get a handle on that. And we've got to, consistency and stability and working with people and promoting from within have to be the way we go. Not all this turmoil is so bad for the city.
Very good. Okay. And then just to wrap it up, we have that big encompassing question, which is, why should members of the business community vote for you? In District 2, I think I'm the only one who has run small businesses. I have been a small business owner and operator and partner for many years. I understand what it's like. My dad started his own van customizing business back in the 70s, before it was as it first became a thing. And then when the large companies took that over, he started his own construction company. Went back to school, got his contractor's license, and built Gulf States metal buildings and steak and shakes all over the state. He built the one on 75 right here in Gainesville. And I worked with him for a number of years. I worked with him from the time I was like 10 until I was. So I've like grown up in this culture of like business, like let's just get stuff done. And how do you get stuff done? And seeing like the difficulties that government can cause for actually getting things done. I understand that, and that's what I want to bring to the table. I also understand how to listen to people. I've been a community organizer and activist for a number of years. I know how to bring people to the table and get each other to listen. Like, I don't ever think I'm the smartest guy in the room or the guy with all the answers, the ideas. I'm the guy that can like make space for everyone to listen to each other's ideas. Like, well, did you hear what they said? Because that's really important. You need to catch that.
Like with the housing, like the answer to our affordable housing is Lincoln Estates. They've been doing this. They did this in 1960. We know how to do this. And so just getting us to all come to the table, calm down, realize that we're all here living in the same town. We all love Gainesville. That's why we're here. And let's work together to make this a city that prospers. And the way we do that is primarily through y'all. It's y'all are the ones that make Gainesville work. Literally, you make the city work. And so I think you need commissioners who understand that. And I understand that and will represent that and help you, not pull your hair out every time you have to interact with the city.
Well, that is an excellent point to kind of wrap it up a little bit. And I want to give you the opportunity if there's anything else that you wanted to cover that you didn't get a chance to say, or however you want to bring us home. Now's the chance.
I will say, I think I pretty much said the whole spiel at this point. The only other thing I will say is, like, I am an outsider here. Like, I don't know if y'all are aware of this, but like the political community in Gainesville is fairly tight knit. Mm-hmm. And I've had a real hard time like working into that. I'm still waiting on access to some things that I should have been given access to a long time ago to make my campaign work. And so if you look at the numbers, like I'm pretty far behind the other two, and the other two guys are really good guys, and Joe's great too. She's great too. But I am not an insider. I'm not one of these classic paper straw liberals, like I call them. And so if what I'm saying resonates with you, I really could use some financial support for my campaign to make this work, because I do think it's important. And I am running not just to raise awareness, but to actually win and change the culture of Gainesville city government. So if this resonates with you, I would appreciate your support, both in your vote and in the campaign contributions.
Very good. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to us today. And we do want to emphasize at the chamber that it is important for everyone to get their voice out there, make your voice heard, make sure you're out there voting on August 23rd. We'll have lots of information on deadlines and dates on our website. So visit us at GainesvilleChamber.com. And thanks again, Michael, for your service, and good luck with the rest of your campaign.
Thank you so much.